Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make these beautiful sleeves. It's called the front tie crochet cropped sleeves. I think granny stitch cropped sleeves. It has so many names because there's so many aspects involved in making these sleeves. So for the materials, let's just dive right in. We're using a 5mm crochet hook and a darning needle, a pair of scissors. A measuring tape is a must. Then for the yarn, I'm using this Marina double knit. It is a DK weight yarn, and I used about 500 yards of yarn. So that's about 1.5 balls of this particular yarn. So if you have any DK weight yarn, just get about 500 yards of yarn. That will be enough. But just to be on a safe side, just have 2 balls to be on a safe side. 328 yards times 2. That will be definitely enough for you, especially if you're going for the cropped version, just like I am. So let's dive right in. So just a quick spoiler alert. So since I didn't have anything to match the sleeves, I gambled around so that I don't take a photo of a nude dummy. And that motivated me to come up with a design for the bottom part. So I am currently working on something that can match the sleeves, and I can't wait to share with you in my next video. So stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this with your crochet friends. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off with a magic ring. And to make our magic ring, you're just going to hold your yarn like this, wrap it around your 2 fingers like that, and then you're going to grab the working yarn. You can see the yarn that I'm grabbing is the one that's attached to the yarn ball, and then I hold here like this. Then I'm going to chain 1. And for this tutorial, the chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch. So you're going to start off with a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch, and then go into the magic ring. Go into the ring with 3 double crochets. 1, a double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's the second one. Again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So those are 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, excluding the very first chain 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the magic ring. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the magic ring. 1, 2, and 3. So far we have a total of 3 groups. So there's this, this, and this, and each group is separated by chain 2 spaces. So we're going to continue doing that until we have a total of 6 groups. So chain 2, 3 double crochets into the magic ring. Chain 2, 3 double crochets into the magic ring. Chain 2, and 3 double crochets into the magic ring. So this is supposed to be my 6th group of 3 double crochets. And as we can see here, we have 1 group, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 groups of 3 double crochets. Now you're going to grab this tail here, and you're going to close up the magic ring just by pulling on it. So when you pull, this inner circle is going to close up. That's why they call it the magic ring. And after your last group of 3 double crochets, you're going to make a chain of 2 and go into the very first double crochet. Remember, the chain 2 didn't count as a double crochet. So we are going into the very first double crochet with 1 slip stitch. So you insert your hook and pull through all. So that marks the end of round 1. Round 2, you're going to make a chain of 2 and turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. So into the chain 2 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Okay, so we are placing this because this is a chain 2 space. Then you're going to make a chain of 1, and then into the next chain 2 space. Each chain 2 space gets 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So for this tutorial, that will count as a shell. A shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. After that, you're going to make a chain of 1, and then go into the next chain 2 space with a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Just like that. Now you're going to make a chain of 1, go into the next chain 2 space, which is this one, and you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Like that. Chain 1, into the next chain 2 space, place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same space. Chain 1, into the chain 2 space, you're going to go in there with a shell, and this is our very last chain 2 space, and it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, just like this. So you can continue to close up your magic ring. We shall weave in this tail later on and put everything together. So from here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very first double crochet of your round. Remember, the chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, so you go into the very first double crochet, insert your hook, pull through all. So we need to see a few things at this point. You should be having a total of 6 sides for your hexagon. This must have created a hexagon. I wanted to explain it at this point because it's more visible. So we have our very first side here. Let me hold it here. This is the first side, second side, third side, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So you should be having 6 sides for your hexagon. Let's go on to the next round, which is round 3. You're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. Turn your work into the chain 1 space, because here we have a chain of 1. You're going to place 3 double crochets, just like that. And then you're going to make a chain of 1, and then into the chain 2 space. I told you every chain 2 space gets 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, which counts as a shell. Just like that. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1. In the chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets only. Chain 1. Into the chain 2 space, you're going to place a shell. So you've noticed whether we are placing 3 double crochets in the chain 1 space or a shell in the chain 2 space, immediately after that we make a chain of 1. So we are going to go all the way around repeating this. After the shell, you make a chain of 1, and if it's a chain 1 space next, you only place 3 double crochets. And after your 3 double crochets, you make a chain of 1. If it's a chain 2 space next, you're going to place a shell into the chain 2 space. And by now you know what a shell means. It means 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space, just like we have here. These shells are creating the corners of the hexagon, as you can see here. Once we place a shell, in between the shells there's one side of the hexagon. So go all the way around doing this, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row or round. So I'm placing a shell into the very last chain 2 space to create our very last corner, and we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 shells around, so that we have a perfect hexagon. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very first double crochet of the round and place a slip stitch. So insert your hook and pull through all. All right, so let's go on to round 4. Round 4 is going to start the same exact way. So make a chain of 2, turn your work. The chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. Into the chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. So after placing your 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space, chain 1, if it's a chain 2 space next or a corner, that means you'll place a shell into that corner. Okay. Then from here, you're going to make a chain of 1. If it's a chain 1 space next, then you're going to place only 3 double crochets. Now you can notice that the shells are only placed in the corners. If it's not a corner, then the chain 1 space only gets 3 double crochets. So go all the way around, working your round 4, and I'll meet you back at the end. Don't forget to place corners in the corners and only 3 double crochets in the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so you can see this. So we're coming to the end of round 4, and I'm placing my very last 3 double crochets into the last chain 1 space. And then after this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and slip stitch into the very first double crochet of the round. All right, so this is what our hexagon looks like. And at this point, I am going to take a measurement from the middle of the hexagon right at the magic ring all the way down, and I'm going to note that measurement. That is 3 inches, and that is how long I want my cropped sleeves to be, right from the armpit downwards. If you want yours to be longer, then you're going to continue working your hexagon until this length is the length of the cropped sleeves that you want. But for me, At this point, I'm done growing the length of my cropped sleeves. And from here, I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn. That's the first part of the cropped sleeves. And now we're going to do something different. We're going to be growing all the other parts of the hexagon apart from the side that has the tail. So this is the side that we are eliminating at this point. So you're going to turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row, because now we are going to work rows right from here all the way around up to here, and then we come back like this. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to attach it in the corner. Remember, we are eliminating the side with the tail. So we're going to attach our yarn in this chain 2 space, just like this. And we're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. And then into the same space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. Just like that. And then everything else remains the same. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets. I'll consider this as row 1 because the previous part we've been working in rounds. So this will be row 1. From here, chain 1, and then into the chain 2 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, just like we were doing for the previous round. We are still creating these corners because we need them to demarcate the different sides of our sleeves, the neckline, the sleeves, and all that. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. So you're just going to repeat what we were doing until you get to that side, which has the strand, because we're not going to do anything on that side. So I'm on my second corner and I am placing my 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Just like that. Remember the very first one, we didn't create a corner. We just created half a corner because we want this to start moving sideways. And then this is the very first full corner and this is the second corner. So repeat that all the way across until the end of your row, until we get to this point before the side that has the tail, before that side. So we are going to stop here. So I'm going to work until here and get back to you and show you what to do. So I am working my very last corner, as you can see here. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, all right. So when you chain 1 here and you've reached that corner, this very last corner, you're going to place only 3 double crochets into the very last chain 2 space, or into the last corner, because this is the last corner of this row. So this is what your work will look like. We've worked all the way from here up to here, eliminating the side with the tail. So let's go on to the next row. The next row, you're going to make a chain of 4, turn your work, and then go into the chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Continue with the same pattern, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and work that until you get to the corner, which corner you're going to place a shell. So everything else remains the same. The only difference is the beginning of the row and the end of the row. And this will be row 2 of the body build, because now these will be rounds, then these will be rows because they don't close up. So this is row 2. Continue to just place a shell in every shell and 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space. And don't forget to always separate with the chain 1. So I'm working the very final side, and I can know that by placing my work down and seeing where the tail is from the very last round, which was round 4. So once the tail is here, this is the final side of the row. Sorry. So when you come to the end here, I am placing my last 3 double crochets into the final chain 1 space. You're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very last double crochet, not into the chain 2, into the last double crochet. And you're going to place 1 double crochet there. And that will mark the end of row 2. So we're going to repeat row 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 until so let me just demonstrate something very small. Row 1 started with a chain of 2, which didn't count as a stitch. Turn your work, and then into the chain 1 space, you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets. Just like that. And you should be seeing that happening at this point. So from here, you just go on with your pattern normally. So repeat rows 1 and 2, So I repeated the 2 rows until I had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 rows, including the rounds, the 4 rounds that we did at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 7, that means I have a total of 11 rows altogether. Rows and rounds put together, we have a total of 11. If we are to count from the center of the hexagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So you can see what that created. This was the side that we eliminated, and you can see the tail still here. And then we went ahead to repeat rounds 1 and 2 until we had a total of 7 rows. Rows 1 and 2 until we had a total of 7 rows. Now we've added our 4 rounds, and in total from the center of the hexagon, we have a total of 11. So we are going to continue working until we get our sleeve circumference. That's the first thing that you should consider. Once you hit your sleeve circumference, let me just take a measurement here. We have 6, and I wanted my circumference to be 12 inches. 12, which is almost for a size small. I think for a size small, and since I used a 5mm crochet hook, I have a stretch, I have a decent stretch. So you're going to keep working until when you fold over, so that the tail that you left behind is down here, you're going to have something like this, which is now making sense because this is supposed to be the sleeve. So once you measure this length here, length of one side should be the circumference of your sleeve, something like this. So once you hit your circumference, your arm circumference, so let me just take a measurement here, and you can see we can stretch this to about 14 inches. And I want my sleeve a bit tight, not something very loose. So once you get that side, because it should be the same exact measurement for all these sides that we have made, apart from this side, the side that's closest to this side that we eliminated, we are not measuring this because it's almost half. But these 3 sides, 1, 2, and 3, should be the same exact length, and that's the length that we are considering. So when you have something like this, you're going to just fold over this piece onto this piece, and it should be making sense at this point. So I have finished my 7th row because I was on row 7 at this point. Then we are going to fold over our work like this. Now we are going to start creating the coverage for our bust measurement, because I am considering 36 inches bust measurement. So far, if I am to measure this, the side that has the tail at the base, just measure that, take that measurement. So far I have 6 inches. So 36 divided by 4, you're going to divide that measurement by 4, your bust measurement by 4, and that is a total of 9 inches. So we're going to do something different. We're going to be shaping the back as well as the front, creating a V-neck. So to do that, I am going to start from this side. Once you get done with your 7 rows, you're going to make a chain of 4. Turn your work, and you're going to go into the very first chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next, chain 1 space. chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next. So we're going to first work on the front panel. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. All right, so we have our 3 double crochets right before the chain 2 space, and from here we are not going to chain 1, we are going to directly go into the chain 2 space and place a double crochet. That is creating a decrease or something slanted, and you can see it clearly at this point. Your work is starting to create the V-neck. So from here you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and then you are going to go into the next chain 1 space. You're going to skip over the 3 double crochets. All right, just like this. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and repeat that all the way down. And when you come to the end of the row, you're going to chain 1 and 3 double crochets into the very last chain 4 space. And this is what you have. And you can see the work slanting. So you're going to make a chain of 4, turn your work, skip over the first 3 double crochets and place 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next, and repeat that until towards the end of your row. Just like this, and I'm placing my very last 3 double crochets in the last chain 1 space of the row. And when we get here, you're going to prepare for a double crochet and go into that space, that very last space, the chain 3 space, and place a double crochet, just like that. Then you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, go into the first chain 1 space. So at this point you should notice one side is creating the V-neck and the other side is remaining flat, and that's the base of the top of the sleeves. So I'm placing my last 3 double crochets in the chain 4 space, just like this. Now you're going to fold over your work again, just like I showed you how to do that. And you can see that the V-neck is on this side, and when it comes to the base of the sleeves, we are getting a flat edge at the base. And then we have to consider another measurement. So you're going to grab your measuring tape and measure this. We want a total of 9 inches. So make sure the very middle of the hexagon where the magic ring is, which is here, is folded at the corner of the armpit. Now you're going to take your measurement here. Remember, I'm considering 9 inches, so I'll do one more row of this. Remember, the first time we measured, we were at 6 inches, and we want a total of 9 inches. So I'll do one more row to get to that point. All right, so I'm going to make a chain of 4, turn my work, and then you're going to go into the chain 1 space, place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next, 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 and then you're going to directly go into the last chain 3 space with 1 double crochet, and that will give us our 9 inches that we are looking for. So let me just place it down some more and just cross-check this measurement. And you can see we haven't done anything on the sleeve part. We're still working on the front and back shaping of the sleeves, and then later on we shall come to the sleeve part, because these are cropped sleeves, so that's why I'm saying the front and back of the sleeves, but the front and back of the main body of the cardigan, because this is now the cardigan, and then we shall come to this part and elongate it. So from here you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Now we're going to go onto the back of the sleeves, and we're going to make sure we are working in the opposite direction of the previous row. So I'll attach my yarn on this corner here, so that I'm working in the opposite direction of the previous row. So the other row was facing this side, so the next one will be facing this side. So I'll attach my yarn here and then make a chain of 3, go into the next chain 1 space and place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way across. So what we are doing right now is balancing, because at this point the front panel is longer than the back panel, and we need them to be at the same level. If I flip over my work like this, you can see the back panel is at this level here and is not at the level of the front panel. So I need to grow my back panel the same exact amount of rows that I extended for the front panel onto the back panel, so that we can get the total of half of our bust, which is 18 inches, which is 9 times 2, because this piece is folded over. So I hope this makes sense. Now we're going to continue with our pattern. This is row 1 of the back panel. All right, so once you place your last 3 double crochets in the last stitch, you're going to chain 1 and go on top of the very last stitch of the previous row, and this is what we will have. Now row 2, you're going to start off with a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. Turn your work, and you're going to make 3 double crochets into the very first chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way across until towards the end of the row, and I'll show you how to wind up your row. So when you come to this point where we have a chain 3 and 3 double crochets, you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the chain 3 space with 1 double crochet, just like that. And so far we've extended by 2 rows because this was row 2 of the back panel. So let's go on, make a chain of 2, turn your work into the very first chain 1 space. You're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat all the way across. So this should be row 3 of the back panel. All right, so we're coming to the end of the row, and I've chained 1. I'll place 1 double crochet into the very last double crochet of the previous row, just like that. This is what we have. Now we're going on to row 4. Now at this point you're going to have to cross check how many rows that you did for the front panel extension to create the v-neck shaping. So we can see clearly that after the corner here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 rows. And those are the rows that we're going to consider to make the extension for the back side. Now the back side doesn't have a v-neck, it just has a little bit of a dip on the upper side, just like we have here. You can see it's not at the level of the sleeves, it just has a little dip so that it's more functional. Then from here you're going to make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a stitch. So we are basically doing the same exact thing. So 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So repeat that all the way across until the end of the row. And this is row 4. That means we have 1 more row to go in order to complete our back panel. All right, so we are placing our last 3 double crochets into the final chain 1 space, chain 1, and then double crochet into the last double crochet of the previous row. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, turn your work. This should be the very final row of the back panel because you're considering the same exact number of rows that we did for the front extension for the back extension. So we are basically doing the same exact thing. Chain 1, all right, so this is exactly what we have. Oh my god. Chain 1, and into the very last stitch of the previous row you're going to place a double crochet. Now you're going to make a chain of 1 and leave a long tail behind. This tail will be for joining the pieces together. So this is what you're going to have, exactly this. And if we place our work like this, you can see now the 2 pieces are on the same level, the front and back panel. The back panel is quite higher than the V-neck shaping. Take note of that. This is the V-neck shaping. The back panel is higher than the V-neck, but it's not at the same level as the back panel because it has a little dip. So what else are we going to do? We are going to elongate our sleeves at this point. These are the sleeves now, and we are going to open it up like this. That means this is the side of the sleeve, and we are going to work back and forth on this side until we get the length of the sleeve that we want. So you're going to grab your yarn, making sure that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row, and you're going to attach your yarn here in the chain 2 space. Now you're going to make a chain of 2 and 3 double crochets into the same exact space, like that, and then make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and go all the way across, repeating this until the end of the row. Okay guys, so for the sleeve extension, I did a total of 26 rows from the very corner of the sleeve that we already had. I did a total of 26 rows in order to get a total of 21 inches right from the middle of our magic ring all the way across to the end of the sleeve. I did a total of 26 from the corner of the hexagon here, 26 rows, and then here we have a total of 11, which makes it a total of 37 right from the very beginning of the magic ring. So 37 all the way across, 37 rows. And now the most annoying part is you're going to go ahead and repeat the same exact process for your second one. I am still working on mine, and I'll be back to show you when both sides are finished. You can see this, I've already started on my second one, and this is how far I've gone. Okay, let me show you how far we are. This is how far we've gone with our second piece. I am going to work on my sleeves all the way across, and I'll see you guys back when both sleeves are done, and then we shall see how to assemble everything together. Guys, so I am through with my second panel, and this is exactly what it looks like, identical to the first one. And now from here I'm going to make a chain of 1, which I've already done, and I'm going to leave a long strand behind, very long, because this is supposed to join the sleeves together. So I'm going to leave that long strand and pull through. All right, so this is exactly what you'll have. Grab your second panel and lay it down on the table the same exact way. So the main reason why I turned my work each and every row all round is so that I could get something that looks almost exactly the same on both sides. If you can see this and then flip it over, you're getting the same exact vibe. We don't have a wrong side and we don't have a right side. So what you're going to do is consider the V-neck. So make sure the V-neck is at the front on both panels. As you can see here, the slanting part is at the top. Just fold over your work like this, and so that the protruding part here, that's the back side, is at the bottom. So what I'm going to do right now, remember the tails that we left behind on the back panel, we are now going to make use of them. So you're going to open up, because you can see now this is the front and this is the back. So you're going to open up your front panel and we're going to seam up this part. We are going to join the back side. So get your darning needle. Here is mine, and I'll get one of the tails that I left on any of the panels, any of the back panels. I left one on both, but I'll only be using one of them because the other one we don't need it. So you'll go stitch to stitch and you're going to join. So you can use a crochet hook, you can use a slip stitch, you can use anything that you prefer to use to join. So I'll just be joining simple stitches, going into the stitch on this side and the stitch on the other side. You should be literally having a mirror of one panel onto the other side. So just go stitch to stitch, unless if you made a mistake somewhere. These two pieces should be exactly the same. So I'm going into the chain one spaces with a joining and then into each of the double crochet stitches. So I'm joining the very last stitch, and now the opening at the back should have closed up totally. So at this point I'm going to just go on and weave in this tail because we no longer need it. Just go into a few stitches back and forth until this tail disappears. Make sure it's secure enough. At the moment you're done with this, you're going to get your pair of scissors. I don't know where mine is. Oh my god. Okay, I've just got my pair of scissors and I'll cut off this. Now let's see what we have at the moment. We have the back side joined fully and then the front side that has the v-neck shaping. So at this point we are going to start joining one of the sleeves. You can see the sleeve is here, but it opens up at the top and we don't want that. So you can go ahead and make a few chains just to make it more interesting. Actually, I think I should give it a try. Instead of just joining up each and everything using the same exact color, we can get maybe a hot pink and we join a few spaces here with ribbons. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think I'm going to go for that approach, but if you don't want that, you can just join this part using either a darning needle or crochet hook. So let me just give it some life. Let me know in the comment section if you went for the second approach of the ribbons or you just used the same exact color to seam up the sides of the sleeves. All right guys, so I have a few chains here. I just want to give it a try and I see if it will work out perfectly well. And I'm going to start making little ribbons on the side of the sleeve just to give it some life. I feel like the color is so dull. I'll start from the corner, so I'll pass it through the corner here. You remember the corner of the hexagon and the corner of the hexagon on this side, just like that. And then I'll tie and then make a little ribbon. I feel like the ribbons are very small, so I will have to change them. Look at this. I feel like this gives life actually. So instead of chains of 50, I'm going to make chains of 100, just so that these chains can keep dropping and I'll be placing every after a few spaces. So let me just go ahead and first make the chains, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm trying to do. Okay guys, after some experimenting, I decided to go for the clean look because the ribbons weren't getting so even, so I felt like I was doing some disorganized work. So we shall go with this approach of using the same exact color to join up the sides. As you can see, I'm done with one side, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can see the seam line is at this level, and it's very neat. So I'm going to show you how to do this on the opposite side, where we still have the opening, and then later on we shall go on to the next part. So you're going to grab your yarn at this point. Grab your yarn and make sure you turn your work over to the wrong side. So if your work looked like this, when you place your work like this, the v-neck is here, the opening is here, and all that going on. So you're going to just open up your work like this and flip it over to the wrong side. And then we're going to start joining the two panels together using a single crochet stitch. So you're going to make a slip knot and go into the very first space. So we are joining the two panels so that we can form a tube-like structure for the sleeve. So you're going to make a chain of 1 and single crochet 2 times in each and every row, just like that, 2 times in each and every row until we get to the hexagon, because once we get to the hexagon, we shall not have rows. We shall now have stitches and chains. So just go into each and every row, placing 2 single crochets in each row, joining the two panels together. So this is what you should be having. We are joining this in order to create a tube for our arms. So go all the way up to this point, because at this point we no longer have rows, we have stitches and chains. So I'm going to do that real quick until I get to the hexagon part. Yeah, so I've gotten to that part where the hexagon ends or starts here at this point. So I'll go into that space with 1 single crochet and then start joining stitch to stitch, whether a double crochet stitch or a chain stitch. I'll just be aligning each and everything together, stitch to stitch, and then going into the chains with 1 single crochet, and then single crochet in each and every stitch, joining it to the back side like that, and then going into the chain space with 1 single crochet. So continue that until you run out of stitches, actually until you get to that part where the v-neck started forming, because that will be the end of the seam line at the top of our sleeves. That will mark the beginning of the neckline, where we don't want to join up anything, because we shall have the front and the back panel. So literally we are joining until we get to this point here and this point. So we are joining up to this corner because that will mark the beginning of the v-neck. And when I get to this corner here where the v-neck shaping starts from, I will place only one stitch into that space and then chain one and cut my yarn, pull through. So we're going to flip over our work so that we take it to the front side or to the right side of the work, just like this. This is what you're going to have, and you can see the seam line is so beautiful. So I've already done my second side, so just go ahead and do your second side just like I did. And right now we're going to do something different. I have my yarn still attached to one of the sides of the seam line, as you can see here. Now when both sides are attached, the sleeves are generally formed, and now we are going to start creating an edging around the base of the sleeves, just cleaning up the edges and also creating the straps that are going to be here at the front, because I told you this is a front tie crochet sleeves. These are front tie crochet sleeves, so it will be open here, but there will be some sort of ribbon that can be created at the front. So if you don't want that, then you're going to go ahead and close up this space just like this, just like we did for the back panels, and we're going to close up this section here. But I feel like the other approach is going to be way cuter than this, so I'll leave mine open and I just have a bow of some sort at this point. So you're going to just continue from one of the sides and make sure you're working on the right side of your work. So I'll take the back panel direction first, because that's where I'm working on the right side. If I take this direction, that means I'm working the final row on the wrong side of the work, which I don't want. So I'll turn my work and I'll place single crochet stitches in each and every row. Each row gets 2 single crochet stitches. So I'm currently working on the back panels. 2 single crochets in each and every row. All right, so once you are done with the back panel, because this is the back panel and we are done working the single crochet stitches across, so now we are going to go onto the v-neck of this side, and we are still going to place 2 single crochets in each and every space or each and every row. So nothing changes at this point. 2 single crochets, and make sure the single crochets are not very tight. Just give them some little, like just enough tension to keep the shape of the sleeves in one place. So 2 single crochets until you get to the corner of the v-neck where we have this tail. So where we are right now is here at this corner. So I am going to make 3 single crochets instead of 2 in this space, just like that. And then I'm going to make a chain of around 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I feel like this is still very short, so instead of 50, I'll do a total of 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, So I ended up doing a total of 75 just because I just got carried away while counting the chains. So I'm going to go back on that chain with slip stitch. So you just insert your hook in each and every chain and pull through all, just to make it a little bit thicker. So go all the way back to the body of the top. I'll meet you back at this point. So you can see the thickness is increasing. So go all the way back onto your chain, and then I'll meet you back at this point. All right, so we've gotten back to the body of the top or the sleeves, and now we're going to go all the way down, placing 1 single crochet in each and every stitch and 1 single crochet in the chain 1 spaces. Okay, so 1 single crochet in each stitch and 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space, and go all the way to the bottom of the sleeves. All right, so I've placed 2 single crochets in the very last space, and now I'm going to turn to work on the bottom of the sleeves. And what we are going to do here, we're going to place 2 single crochets in each and every row. Two single crochets in each and every row all the way across the bottom of the sleeves until we go to the other side of the second front panel. So when you get here, you're going to place 1 single crochet into the corner of the hexagon. You can see this was a shell, and then you're going to place 1 single crochet in each and every stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space. Okay, okay, now we are back to the rows. So 2 single crochets in each and every row. So this is just to clean up the edges of the sleeves, the front opening, the bottom, and it just gives it a neater finish as opposed to what we had before, as you can see here. So go all the way across. This is going to take a while, but just go all the way across. If it comes to rows, you place 2 single crochets. If it comes to stitches, you place 1 single crochet in each and every stitch and 1 single crochet in each and every chain 1 space. Okay. All right, so I've reached that corner that goes to the second front front panel, and I've placed 2 single crochets in that space. So I'm going to place a total of 2 single crochets again in the same space, so that's a total of 4, and then I'm going to go all the way up, placing 1 single crochet in each stitch and 1 single crochet in each, chain 1 space. All right, so once you get here at this point, I'm going to place 1 single crochet into that very last stitch and make my chain of 70, just like I have here, 75 actually. So okay, when you have your 75 chains, you're going to go back on that chain with 1 slip stitch into each and every chain, all the way back to the body of the sleeves. So until here, back to the body, and I'll meet you back at this point. So we're just trying to mirror what's on this side onto this side so that we get the same exact thing going on. If you don't know where we are right now, let me just place my work in a good way. We have a strap here, which will create a ribbon. So we have to create it on this side as well. So this is the V-neck, the front opening, and this is the front opening on the opposite side. And so far we've been working around the cardigan all the way at the bottom, the sides, and everything. So let me just go ahead and work my strap, and I'll be back. Okay guys, we are back to the body of the sleeves, and we are done with our second strap. And you can see how reliable these straps are. They're very visible, very sturdy, thicker than usual. They have a touch of some sort of finish. So after this, you're going to go back onto the top, and you're going to place 2 single crochets in each and every row. And remember, make sure you don't make these stitches very, very tight so that you don't distort the shape of the top. Okay, so I will place 2 single crochets into the very last space, and then slip stitch into the very first single crochet that we made for the edging. So slip stitch, chain 1, and cut your yarn, and then pull through. So this is exactly what we have. We have so many loose ends to weave in, but for now I'm going to just make them a little bit shorter so that they don't interfere with our the outlook of our sleeves. Any tail that is longer than usual, I'm going to just cut it a little bit shorter just for it to be ready to weave in. Okay, so I think this is just enough. And the straps that we've made right now, this is going to be, that's why I call it the front tie. Look at this, guys. I'm very satisfied with this look. Oh my god, the straps look so good. I think because of the thickness of the yarn, but these straps are everything. they're cropped, the sleeves are finished. So the next thing that you're going to do is grab your darning needle and weave in all your ends, and your project is basically done. So let me weave in my ends and I'll show you the final look of these sleeves. Okay guys, at this point all the loose ends are off and we are ready to see the final look of this these crochet sleeves. Oh my god, you guys, look at the finished product. I'm very satisfied with it. I feel like the sleeves turned out so beautifully, and I feel like the extra length that I added while making was so worth it. Look at that front tie. Yes, it's giving class, it's giving elegant, and you can wear this anywhere, maybe on a camisole or any plain top. And these sleeves, I hope, are it for any outfit. So let me know down in the comment section what you think about this design, and thanks for watching guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you support the artist, the crochet artist, by purchasing the pattern if you would like a copy. So I'll be leaving all the links in the description box below. And thanks for watching guys. I'll see you in my next one. The only thing that's lacking here is a bottom for this beautiful piece. I don't know what I can match it up with. Let me know down in the comment section what you would like to see paired up with these sleeves, because this is beautiful. Yes, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.